Hey class, this is Professor Nick Sinsky at UNC Charlotte, and this is another demo for Rhinoceros. I'm going to be teaching a basic modeling technique using 2D orthographic drawings as a scaffold. I'm sorry about the birds in the background. I hope that doesn't bother you. So what I'm going to do is I've got this file that I created that's a bunch of orthographic drawings that are, basically like projected off each other. I've got floor plan, second floor plan, sections, which roughly correspond to the lines here, right? And elevations on both sides, and the back and front elevation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with what I call a scaffold technique. So I'm going to line these with the plan in 2D, and then kind of fold them up like an Amish barn. And I'm going to use that as the basis of a 3D model of this simple kind of brownstone apartment. Okay. So first things first, though, these are actually just separate lines from each other. And that's not really going to help very much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and group them together. So select them and then say group. I should note though that I have already organized the file according to layers, which is going to be really helpful. Right? I can turn things off and on according to what kind of drawing they are. It's really key when you're doing this kind of thing to keep organized and only leave things turned on that are necessary to be turned on. Okay, so you don't want to confuse yourself with stuff. So for instance, I want to make this a group, but I don't want the section lines to get in the way, so I'll turn off the short and long section, right, and then go ahead and group this together, and then it's going to be helpful to me. So that's a group, that's a group. Okay, so I can do this relatively quickly. You can always ungroup stuff later, but for right now, putting things in a group is going to really be helpful. Okay, so and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the things I don't need. And right now I'm just aligning things with the plan. So I'm going to pick this and say move, and I'm going to go ahead and move this to align with the plan. Go to perspective view, and then I'm going to do a command called rotate to 3D. And rotate 3D, rotates in 3D space according to an axis that you create. So it's kind of like a hinge. So I do rotate 3D, and I say start of rotation axis. So I'm going to draw the hinge. Then I'm going to hold shift. Now notice I don't have orthographic snap on. If I have it on, then I don't need the snap. I don't need to hold shift, but I have it turned off. So I hold shift. I'm going to go in the direction that the plane started, right, which is this way. And now, if I hold shift, so I'm not holding shift, if I hold shift, it's going to snap to 90 degree or 45 degree increments. I'm going to hold up to 90 degrees and then snap it, and that's going to give me the facade of the building. Okay. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and turn that off. Let me go ahead and do another elevation. So here I can go to top view, and you can see that this is going to align with that, and this is going to align with that. So I want to go ahead and say rotate. And that's regular rotate, not 3D rotate, because I'm just rotating in the top view. So I click, hold shift to establish a base angle, and then hold shift again, right, and that's going to rotate me the direction I want. And I say move, and I'm going to go ahead and align this with the edge here. Go back to perspective, okay, rotate 3D, and do this, and then rotate up. And the advantage of this is that not always great to design in 3D. And at this point in your education, talking to first year master's students, you're probably designing a lot in 2D. You're designing in CAD. So this kind of technique is going to help you understand the relationship between orthographic drawings and your 3D model. And it's also going to produce a very clean model when you're done. So let's go back to top view. Again, if I'm looking at this floor plan, this is actually aligned there. So I'm going to go rotate. Baseline, move here. Actually, while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and move this to same plane. I'll mess with it later. So, okay. Same thing, find a hinge. 90-degree snap. Perfect. Okay. Let's finish off with the back elevation here. And you can move in a combination of orthographic and perspective views, but you just want to be really, really careful in perspective view that you're not accidentally snapping to the wrong things. Okay, so let's look at those elevations here. Front, east, west. Not too shabby, right? These line up with that, and this window lines up with the cutaway on the second floor. Not too bad. Okay, let's work on those sections. So if I go ahead, I'm going to take this layer here, and I'm actually going to lock this, so LOCK, lock. That makes it selectable, but not, I mean, I can snap to it, but I can't select it, and that's very important. Okay, so by locking and turning things off and on, I can kind of clarify things for myself. Okay, so these windows are this window, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate, move, and you notice that this has kind of a plinth on it, kind of a foundation, so I need to be careful about this when I move this in the x-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and move this here, sorry, in the z-axis, move this here, and I'm going to snap it, and I have intersection snap turned on, so I can snap it there. If your snaps aren't on, or you need to change them, you can go up to Tools, Object Snap, Persistent O-Snap, and that's going to turn this row on, and you can toggle those on and off then. So I actually snapped it to this line, because this is kind of the foundation in this section. Say rotate, 3D, I grab this as my line, and raise that up. So that's actually under the thing. Now I got a section. And you'll notice that as I turn on my front, like that's going to, not quite, but it's supposed to align with my drawing, and it does not, so that's a problem. Yeah, so the sections don't quite align. Actually, what the problem is that the elevations. So the porch thing is here. The floor is actually a bit raised up. So what I really need to do is like take all my elevations and lower them. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the section and turn on all my elevations and select them, and then say move vertical, yes, check that, and just basically using the project snap, I'm going to go ahead and pick a location here, and using project, I'm just going to snap it to the bottom of the section, and that's going to line everything. So that's helpful. Okay, so that's a mistake that I made. But there's kind of a level that's on the base of it that connects with these entry pieces here, and that's where the floor actually starts. Okay, so be really careful with your drawings. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that, and we'll turn these off again, and then let's go ahead and do the short section. Same deal. Go ahead and move this on the floor level with the piece, and then let's rotate it 3D. And 90 degrees, there you go. That's going to align with it just fine. Okay, so now all of your drawings should basically align with each other. Now would be a great time to save your file. Okay, so there's all your things, and you should see them, coordinating with each other. Oh, you know what? One last thing. Actually, I messed this up. Let's take that floor, second floor, and let's move it up to the top of the floor plate. So here I'm moving it vertically, and it's going to snap to turn off project here. There you go. So now it's at the top of that floor. So let's look at that long section. So it's at the top of that deck. It's right at the floor. And that's because we're going to extrude this up. Okay. So that's pretty basic there. So yeah, let's get that last floor in. Okay, so there is our model. Okay, great. So we can pretty much start any place, but the place that I want to start is at the facade. So let's go ahead and turn everything off except for the front facade and go to front view. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock this. And what I want to do is actually I want to draw new. I want to switch to the front elevation layer, and I want to draw new curves. So I'm going to draw, the outline of this, and I'm going to draw the outlines. Anything I'm going to puncture. Right? And if I go to perspective, I've got this these lines that I made. And if I turn on my plan, I'm going to go and lock this. I can take these lines, all of them, and say extrude curve, and then it's going to give me a volume. And note that I have cap on, and I'm going to delete input. And I can snap to that thickness of the wall, and that's going to give me the basic kind of facade treatment. And I do this because you really actually want these as a solid. What you don't want to do is extrude from the plan to create all these shapes. What that's going to do is create too many surfaces. Like this is actually, in this design, it's one surface, okay? If you begin to divide this up, it's going to be harder to add materials to later. It's going to change your analysis if you take it in Ecotect, or if you render it in Maxwell, try to get a light analysis on it. If it's one surface in the model, it's one surface in the, if it's one surface in the real world, it's one surface in the model, okay? So I've got this. If I can go ahead, I can lock this if I want. Go back to front view. Begin to finish this off. So I could model the front step by making a rectangle. Oh, and now I didn't have project on, so well anyway, we can extrude and extrude it to the face of this. Okay, so that's kind of my front step. And we're going to add materials later, so we don't need to worry about that too much. Okay, so that's that facade. And you can go ahead and finish off the other facades in a similar manner. The technique's pretty similar. Later on we'll talk about how to resolve these corners here, but for now just make sure you make them as solids. Okay, we'll maybe come back to that later. Okay, so let's go back to the first floor plan, which I have here, and let's look at some sections. Look at the short section here. So I've got in this view, when you're working in plans, I like to actually model most of the interior walls in plan. So I'm going to block this section here, and then I can draw cross sections, or I can use boxes. And I'm going to go ahead and snap to turn midpoint snaps off here. Oops. The way box is drawn is always from the last view, so if you're going to extrude up, you want to actually still start in a top view and then change to a perspective view. Sorry. That's just the way the tool's set up. So if I make box, so I can do this, and then I can extrude to the top of the floor plate. I'm on the first floor plan layer, by the way. And let's do the same here. Okay, and then I'm going to make this partition wall. So I can go ahead and I can snap to the plate here and draw this wall, and then snap to this one. And what I'm left with is this kind of lintel. So I can draw on the top and then snap to the base. Okay. I'm going to go and lock these. I'm going to do something else here. So this is exactly what I'm talking about, why you don't want to extrude from the plans all the time. These are three surfaces when they want to be one surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace these with the with the polyline tool, the outer edge. So click, click. And I'm just going to grab the edge of this 3D form that I created. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Okay, so this is one line that I drew. Extrude curve with a cap. Oops, excuse me. And I can snap to the floor plan to get the thickness, and that is the surface. Okay. Pretty clean. Okay, so that is our ground floor for the most part. Okay, let's go ahead and finish off those stairs. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and move into the long section. So I got my stair. Block. Let's go to the left side. And again, we're going to trace this. You might say, well, I already have the lines, why do I trace it? But what you want to do is you want to own each line you make. It's very hard when you're modeling in AutoCAD, or when you're drawing in AutoCAD, to really guarantee that all of your lines are really closed, that they're grouped together, let's say. And so when you export them and when you extrude them, you don't always get the result you want. And so by tracing over them in Rhino with the line tools and by making sure that they're closed, you're going to get a really nice surface when you're done with it. And actually, this is an error that I have here, so I'm going to go ahead and I need to fix this. So I'm going to draw a line that's intersecting this. Then we go ahead and trim. We're going to trim these. So trim. And then let's join these. That's an arrow with my drawing. You really get a sense of what's wrong with your drawings when you begin to model with them in 3D. Okay, perspective. I'm going to turn on my plan here. I'm going to move this in 3D to here and extrude. Again, capping it, right? And that is my stair, right? So that's really, really nice. Okay. Let's go turn this off here. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and hide these. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a simple floor plate and extrude it. So I'm just going to trace the outer edge of my house. If I wanted to, I can make the porches actually a part of it. In fact, it's probably the better thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just make it all one piece for now. You can always divide it up later. So got that. And then if I go in and I got my front elevation, I'm going to extrude it down to here. So now it's actually part of those. Turn off my elevation, turn off my floor plan, and go to my elevation, delete this. Now I've got these pieces here. This is kind of a problem. Yeah, we want that to be clean, so I'm actually going to go ahead and turn these off here. Made a mistake. So same thing here. Let's go ahead and hide these. And let's go ahead and hide this. And then let's just draw the interior for now. The floor. Which is not part of the wall. Okay, then that way the other walls will come in and that'll be fine. Okay, so let's show. Got those. Not too shabby. Go ahead and save that. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we got left. So, I mean, that's kind of the basic idea of some of the floor plans. Let's go ahead and go out to the second floor and look at that a little bit. So, same deal here. I'm going to lock this, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the floor noting that the stair is actually removed as well. Oops, let's go top here. Okay, and I got this. And then let's go ahead and if I turn my section on, I can extrude this. And I can get that hole cut out. Alright, so stairs go up, and there's kind of a wall there. Not too bad. And then that elevation's gonna, the other elevation's gonna come in here. So not too bad. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this off. And let's go back to the floor plan and turn on the long section again. Hide this. So, liberal use of hide and lock and layers is really going to save the day. It's going to help you keep track of things and just make sure that you don't make any mistakes. So I'm in the floor plan view. I'm going to go ahead and start drawing some of these wall partitions again. Snap. And I got a low wall here, right? Because that section comes in there. Let's do these partitions here. And this is really telling you how orthographic drawings can relate to each other, and it can help you, understand. You don't need all the drawings, because if you have other drawings that reference each other, you can get, let's say, the lintel. The lintel here is going to be, actually I need to finish this wall here. The lintel is going to be similar though, so you can always snap off of a similar lintel condition, like that. So this one is going to relate to that one. Okay, I'll do that again here. So I start by drawing from the top with the box command, and I snap to this over here. And there you go. Okay, so that's, you do that. And then what we'd probably do, again, like I've done in previously in this model, is use that as a guide to snap to the geometry that I created. And then extrude that again. We're going to repeat that over here. This is going to create a really clean model that's going to be good for, like I said, analysis, materials. It's going to be good for 3D printing. The better craft you have here, the easier your life's going to be later. So take that and extrude that curve. And the same thing here. Okay, clean and clean. Very good. Okay. Show. So that takes care of that floor plan and that floor. Not too shabby. Okay. Okay. So you can go ahead and finish off the rest of the elevations. Like I feel like that's fairly self-explanatory given the stuff that I talked about so far. You can see how this section is going to help us understand the building. Let's see here. Don't model the windows yet. The only other thing left would be probably the parapet, which is actually going to just be a simple box. So if I take and I'm snapping here, I can snap to the edge. Alright. And it's going to help me snap here. So that's going to kind of create that condition. Probably need to snap to the plan actually. So again, these drawings reference each other in three-dimensional space. Okay. And then, depending on how you want to model this, so that's kind of the roof, and then it's this piece that kind of comes out on the side here. You can do different things. If I go to a left side view, I could trace this as a rectangle. Move it in top view. could say move this to the edge. And then, that's that up. Move it vertically. You gotta watch those three-dimensional snaps. Okay, then I can extrude this to the end of the building. Okay. So again, using those three-dimensional snaps, if you want to change the layer of that. Not sure actually what layer the roof is supposed to go on, but you decide that later. So what remains again is the elevation pieces of it, and kind of, you know, turn those on and like redraw those. That piece should be pretty easy, but that's what you need to make the basic model. We'll come back on Thursday and talk about how to make this really precise and clean and essentially able to 3D fabricate it. We're going to discourage use of booleans. You know, again, if you've learned how to model that way, it can be useful with complex surfaces and things, but when you're dealing with like regular geometry, I find that it creates like too much additional geometry. It's not very clean. The craft isn't very good on it. And later on in your project, it doesn't always work very well, and it's better to really learn how to model with surfaces and lines and trims, as opposed to just, say, making solids and bullying them out. Okay, so for really conventional stuff like this, especially, I want to discourage the use of that, and I want to really make you think in terms of the orthographic drawings that you've made, and the scaffolding technique really helps with that. Okay, so I'm going to post these files online for you, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Make sure you bring any questions you have, and any other thoughts on Rhino. Thanks very much. I'll see you later. Bye.